Good morning and welcome to the 13th episode of Hot Topics, a fire and EMS related show that is filmed here at HCAM Studios in Hopkinton, Mass. Today we are very blessed and lucky to have Fire Chief Gary Daugherty, Fire Chief, and Firefighter Paramedic Travis Metcalf. We're going to go over some of the unique equipment that has become available through use of the EMS funds and other funding to bring top shelf care to the people of Hopkinton and the surrounding communities on a daily basis. I have to admit, I walked into the station one day and it drives me like a magnet. It's still in my blood. I can't help it, but I go in to say hi and I see this on the desk. I said, "Oh, what are you guys working with?" And it was a ventilator. And I'm like, "You gotta be kidding me." And I go back to the days when the first ambulance was there. It was an international travel hall, and if you had more than one patient, you used the police cruiser wagons and roll the seat down and roll the stretcher in, and with the front wheels went in little cups, and then the back thing stood up like that. So I come from, that was my first, and we got some good stuff, but it evolved. But my first question, the hardest one for the chief all day is, how'd your marathon go this year?
Outstanding.
Good. Yep. I listened to it. I had my radio on early listening. I get to see your staging area on Hayden Row. I went to get my granddaughter some stuff and out early, like at 5:30ish, and they were just starting to roll into your staging area there at the old mill. So it's like I didn't hear a lot of activity. I did hear some of the stuff at the start line was good. So it's like the family was very appreciative for the work that you and your staff did there. And I heard about that soon after they got a call, and then they stopped over. So it's like they did awesome. It's like so. Thank you for the work that all your people bring to the. And Travis's other hat he wears is the union president still.
Yep.
Yeah.
Currently,
we won't hold that against him. So, no, yeah. But currently, yeah. Mm-hmm. But that's an important function for the fire department in the town. But today we're going to talk about the EMS care, and I was just so happy to see that, and it like put me in awe to say a ventilator. And I'm going to turn it over to Chief Daugherty, and they can explain how they got it. And then we got Travis here as a subject matter expert to like show us how it works. And it comes in this little backpack. They put it on, go where they need to go. If they had to go in the woods with it, it would be perfect to reach someone off the road. But Chief, take it. You can explain how you procured that and the use, and then Travis can get into the nitty gritty with us and show us that.
Well, thank you for giving us the opportunity today, Chief. Yeah, you're making me think, going back 20 years ago when we were just starting the paramedic level, I guess it was the early, mid-2000s.
2006.
Right, how far we've come. And I remember that one call really makes me think a lot of how just one patient interaction can change the perspective of the whole call.
Yep.
That one we had it up on Forest Lane.
Yep, on the condos.
Yeah.
Yep, I'll never forget it. I had just come back from a hip replacement, and it was the first call, and it went into service while I was in Newton Wellesley. And his dad was calling me, "Oh, we're going to come up today." "No, we didn't make it. We're going to come up tomorrow." And he said, "We made it. We made it." So we were all excited. It was such hard work. His dad and all the people, all the training that they did to get our service up there. And I went on. For some reason, I worked a night shift and we went into this place and again, my first call with our medics, and Gary said, "Oh, this guy's kind of circling the drain a little bit. We're going to have to cardio invert him." I said, again, German Shepherd look, not being familiar with the medic stuff, and I said, "What does that mean?" He says, "We're going to stop his heart and restart it so it's kind of hit the default button," you know what I mean? And they did that, and the gentleman, when we pulled up to the ED at Milford, was sitting up on the stretcher, talking to him like nothing ever happened. And I watched that, and I said, "I'll be beholding to your program forever." You know what I mean? And it was like just bought in with me right there that we, as firefighters and paramedics in Hopkinton, could bring that skill. I was so impressed. And it's, again, coming from the old days with like we just didn't have that capability. And then but the process, and I know I talked with it in depth with Billy Hamilton when he was here, of the intercept cars for the intercept truck from the medics. We would wait for them and go, but now it's in-house, ready to go staffing's good where you can get them out the door, and they're like shot out of a gun, and it's like, really impressed with it. And I'm sorry for kind of like taking over after you started, but it's like, it was very impressive. Still, like, I tell people that to this day, that my first call that I saw that was like, yep, not much impressed me, but that did.
So just to kind of digress, over the past 20 years, we've gone light years. When we first became medics, I thought we could do everything. But now with this younger generation and the equipment and the technology that they have on the ambulance is unbelievable. We were one of the first communities to actually do CPAP. We did it under a special project waiver in the late 2000s. Now it's actually standing protocol. So last fiscal year, at the annual town meeting, we got approved to buy 2 Zoll Z vents. The difference between the Z vent and what we had before is we could only do CPAP, which is a continuous pressure. Whereas now we can do, with the Z vent, we can also do CPAP, BiPAP, which is 2 levels, and then we can also use it in cardiac arrests. So you're probably more familiar with the cardiac arrest type area. When you're trying to use a BVM, you don't know how much air you're squeezing into the patient. You know, your hands are, everybody's hands are different size. We're all squeezing at a different rate. We stop on a flight of stairs or you're coming down, patient's not getting oxygenated. So now we have a vent that we can even use during a cardiac arrest that will continuously ventilate the patient at the same depth, same rate throughout the whole incident.
And you can use that on any patient that needed it all the way. Will it do a pediatric or a child, Travis? Or is there a certain age or weight, body weight, where it kicks in, where you can run with it?
So right now it's not recommended for pediatrics.
Yep.
In the hospital they do use it. So for us, we don't have the ability with our protocols to use it for pediatrics, so it's mostly an adult intervention.
Yep. Thank you. Good answer.
But some of the benefits of the vent, besides what we talked about, is, you're getting the same tidal volume every time the machine ventilates. The respiratory rate's constant. Your PEEP limits are the same. It also decreases like barrel trauma that we've noticed. Firefighters get anxiety or adrenaline rush, and you're squeezing the bag too hard. This vent does not do any of that. That's really the meat and potatoes.
Takes the human factor out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to turn it over to Travis a little bit.
Yeah.
You can probably
walk us through. Even sat with your backpack. I think that was the most impressive for me, Travis, was seeing all that laid out on the dispatch console over there and saying, show me what this is. I don't know. I've never seen this before. And the guys went through it, and I'm like, again, it's like, I have such high praise for you guys. I watch you guys out in the street, and it's like, when I get a chance, I run into them usually at the corner by Maple and Grove.
Right, yeah. No, it's a great thing to learn. So it's just like our first in-bag has IVs, intubation stuff. If someone has a cut, they need a Band-Aid. Everything's in one bag. So this is one bag, and that's what we have with all of our ventilation equipment. So the front, we have a circuit here. So that's what connects the machine to the patient. And then we have 2 different size masks here. We have small, medium, and large. And those masks can be used for CPAP or BiPAP. They work interchangeably. And then if we were to intubate someone in a cardiac arrest, that's when we would hook the tube right to the, the circuit right to the tube.
Yep. When you say the tube, they're intubated.
Yep.
Okay.
And we flip it over, and we open up, and then this is where the vent comes right out of. And then once we get on call, we'll put this out of our way, and now we have our vent.
Yeah, I'll take this. This is just like a fake loop.
Yep. So we have our vent here. 1 screen, few buttons, a couple dials. These hooks are great. We can manipulate those and put it right on the back of the stretcher.
There you go. Yep.
On the side. You could put it on the side of the bag if you had to, but it gives you an option instead of laying this on the patient or having to find some weird way to hold it. So these vents in the beginning will start with giving 21% oxygen. So atmospherically right now, that's the percent of oxygen we breathe. But if we have someone really sick, they're gonna need more right away. So we can hook this up to portable oxygen and give up to 100% at a time. So just a higher concentration, just to help that patient right in the beginning. We can turn that on.
That's one of the things we couldn't do with the previous CPAPs.
Okay.
We could not give anything more than room air.
Okay.
So we turn it on right away. You can hear that sound. That's the pump sucking in air and getting ready to deliver that to the patient. So there's two settings like the chief mentioned. I'll turn it off just so we can hear. There's a BiPAP and CPAP, which is non-invasive. So oftentimes we have that with our COPD, asthma patients that just need a little assist. And then with our sicker patients, that's when we go cardiac arrest, and that's the second option that this vent can be used for.
So CPAP is when the machine's giving you the pressure, it's a constant pressure. Whether you're inhaling or exhaling, it's the same pressure.
Okay.
Whereas the BiPAP, it adjusts your pressure between inhalation and exhalation.
Okay.
So it's actually more comfortable, more...
For the patient?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so with our tubing here. It's fairly quick to set this up. All right, so now the vent is ready, and this can go on to the patient.
That goes on, and then, again, it's a team approach. I remember years ago at Pro EMS in Cambridge, we sent the duty groups to do practice codes. Now, is that kind of like, kind of still with it? Everyone has a position to do. Like someone will intubate, you'd be, Travis, setting up this thing if you knew you had to use that. Someone would be doing, spiking a bag for an IV or something like that.
Yep, just like if we're on the way to a fire or a commercial alarm, anything like that. Usually we have riding assignments before we even leave the station, but oftentimes we talk, this is our plan, you're gonna do this and that. Same thing with the ambulance. Now that we have this, typically you would intubate and then you'd be standing over the patient bagging, and you would own that spot.
Yep.
And then if you're coming down a tight staircase in someone's house, for example, you're kind of in the way and you don't want to stop ventilating because you're that person's thing. But now we have this, we can intubate, you can attach this, we can secure it to the patient properly so it doesn't move, and now you can be used to help with extricating. So it really frees up a spot, but that's the best part with this right now.
Unbelievable. Yep.
Yeah, it's kind of, we kind of use the pit crew concept.
Yep.
Like
there you go. Yeah.
Everybody has a position at a cardiac arrest. Everybody has an assignment.
Yep.
And,
and the lieutenant is kind of like the pit crew leader. You see?
Right, yeah.
That's the way you do with it. Or the lead firefighter if there's a lieutenant not available.
we're actually using this new program called Hand Heavy.
Yeah.
We could probably do an episode on that if you want. In cardiac arrest. And it basically manages your cardiac arrest, and it times out all your medication dosages and gives, so it,
Yeah. So the structure's awesome.
It's very cool.
The structure's very awesome.
So with this, there's all types of settings on the screen. Yeah, you might be able to zoom in, right? So we have a cardiac monitor, which will monitor our oxygen and our heart rate, but this also has options that we can plug into it if needed. But
Plug into the cardiac monitor?
correct.
Now,
Yeah.
how do they,
With the-
explain how they interface. You probably were going to.
Sure.
Yeah.
So the cardiac monitor has pulse ox, heart rate, and can do blood pressure and EKGs. But so that's typically how we'll monitor our patient. But this has an alternative option if we wanted to plug those into this. Typically, which we don't use just because we already have the cardiac monitor in there for these types of calls, anyways. So that's your first two screens is the heart rate and the SpO2%. And then we have the FiO2, and that's how much oxygen concentration we're giving to the patient. So if we wanted to give more than 21%, that's when we would connect this green tubing to our portable oxygen.
Okay.
And it would give more. Then we have our PIP, PEEP, and those are basically pressures that the machine forces into your lungs to keep your alveoli, which are the small parts of your lungs, open. So think about it like if you had a car tire, it was kind of flat, you wouldn't be able to get good surface contact when you're driving, and you would hear and just wouldn't be working properly. So if we attach this to them and give them that pressure with the air, you're keeping those lungs inflated, and that's what allows that good gas exchange between the capillaries. Which when we had just the CPAP mask, you could allow a certain pressure, but you wouldn't be able to manipulate it like this machine does.
Okay.
And then it will give you the pressure that the patient's giving at the machine. So that way you know like the two-way street communication between the patient and the machine, where previously we just knew what we were giving the patient and that was it. So this allows us to manipulate specifically how each patient is going to benefit from it. And then we have our tidal volume, which is how much air we're giving to a patient at the time. So like the chief mentioned, when we were bagging, it was kind of variable. Sometimes you would squeeze it a little more than your previous one. And this is the same amount every single time. And then we have the breaths per minute, which is a number we can manipulate if we think someone needs more or less. And then we also have I to E time. So that's how long your inspiratory phase is compared to your expiratory. So how quickly are you breathing in compared to out?
Yep. And that manages that?
Correct. Yep.
Wow.
So if oftentimes with like asthmatic or COPD patients, they breathe really long to try to get that CO out of them, CO2. And we can.
That's a natural body function when they
Correct.
do that?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, a COPD patient usually tends to have more in them than someone that doesn't. So we can manipulate that and kind of help regulate their blood gases before they get to the hospital.
And while the medics are doing this, they're also watching their waveform capnography, measuring their CO on the cardiac monitor.
Yeah.
And then this machine also has its own screen that will monitor the waveform. So we can compare it with the monitor and make sure that they're dissimilar.
Yep.
And then the bottom right is that's where we change. Are we using CPAP or are we using this for a patient that was just intubated?
Yep.
And then we have our lung over here, which is what we use to train with. We can't always be putting it on somebody to train with, so this gives you a real time of what a real lung would feel like.
Are we able to like?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can give it a full restart here.
Yeah. That gives people a good picture, like
Right.
the visual learners, like me.
And the other thing we could do with this is if they have somebody on CPAP or BiPAP, they can also do an inline neb to give you some bronchodilators and stuff.
Yep. Oh, okay.
You want to squeeze it? And when we get ready to go?
Yeah, so I can select adult here.
See.
And the first 2 times it might beep, and that's just the machine trying to get used to the patient here. And then it'll give us prompts here on why it's an alarm.
Yeah.
We can work our way through.
So that's working the same. That's just taking is taking the place of what someone's lungs would look
Correct. Yep.
like as the machine was working.
Sure.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, so that's how a patient would be. And it gives us a great opportunity to see it in real life.
Yeah. Yeah. Most impressive. Most impressive. No, it's unbelievable that you can take these skills on the street 24/7, 365.
Right.
Just so impressive. It adds so much to that. I was always very proud that we always had good firefighters and we had good EMTs, but now we have good firefighters and good paramedics, and there's a balance. They can go from smoking, smashing in a window and getting in or gaining access to a place to kind of the finesse here with the paramedic stuff. It's just very dual trained personnel is just so important.
And then also we have cheat cards is a simple term, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
in 2 in the morning or in the middle of the day, whatever, we have these cards here, and those assist us with how we want to set this up. So with a cardiac arrest, there's certain program numbered here
Yeah.
compared to using that mask, and this allows us to have a guide, basically.
Yeah.
Just like a pilot before they go off for takeoff.
Makes
we have
huge sense.
A book. So this is
Yeah.
our very short card, and it just assists us with that.
Yeah.
And then also with these, when we were getting trained on them, we all wore one, so we all have one, and that's another great way for us to train, because if you're sick and you call us and now you have strangers in your house and they're there to help you, it's a very overwhelming situation for the patient. So we can kind of coach them on how that feels, because put a mask on you, you might be a little claustrophobic,
Yeah.
and now you just have pressure and air being forced into you. So for us to know how that feels to an extent, we can kind of assist them with
You coach them through it.
Yeah, coach it through them.
Yeah, awesome. Fantastic. It's like, and I'm sure, I had never heard about this till I saw it, so I think it's good to let citizens know what you guys are doing and where you are, taking that, constantly driving that that bar up higher and higher and higher on the EMS side. Is there any other things that you're down the road that the service is looking at to improve the delivery?
We're always looking at different things.
Yep.
Some of the bigger things that are coming down the pike is we're actually going to be rolling out antibiotics, real-foot antibiotics,
Yep.
which is shown to make a big difference in septic patients. 2 years ago, we brought medication pumps into service, so we could start carrying different type of. We were carrying Noroepi versus dopamine.
Yep.
So
Okay, tell me what those are for, so.
I have a pump right here. Basically, it's a one-chamber Sapphire medication pump. Any medication that we give over a drip, we can now do it through a pump. Before, we used to have to hang a drip.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah,
We
a
used to
bag.
count the number of drips out of the tubing, whereas the machine actually figures it all out for us now.
Yeah. Remember, we had to learn how to spike as BLS guys, how to help you by
sure.
spiking bags, and that seemed like, ooh. No, awesome.
Yeah.
You just set that down, let it run?
Yep, so this would go into medication.
Yep,
And then it would clip in right here.
Yeah. Yeah, we're still in the process of getting the approval for the antibiotics. We're hoping
Yep,
to have that
yep,
done by
yep.
the end of the fiscal year.
that's good.
And then this would go right to the patient's IV.
Now, do your, both your A1 and A2 have refrigerators in them, so does that help in keeping any of the drugs? I know that was a big thing prior to having those, that we had to replace drugs really quick because they were kept like room temp.
We don't have the refrigerators in the ambulance anymore.
Okay.
There's so many
They went away from it?
requirements behind the temperature monitoring.
Oh.
It's not as simple as just you put a refrigerator in there.
Yeah.
And it's got to be constantly monitored 24 hours.
Yep, oh, that makes sense, yeah. I know they did for a while, so then you went away from it.
We have a medication fridge in the station that we store like spare meds.
Yep,
But when you look at the cost effectiveness, it's just as easy to replace it
yeah,
every 30 days.
yeah, no, unbelievable. Now, do all of if our ambulances were busy, which is very, very common to have both of them out and busy, do some of our mutual aid people have the same capability as we do with this equipment, or is this like are you still like kind of cutting edge?
I think the vents are becoming more and more popular.
Okay, yep.
Medication pumps are service by service.
Yep,
So
interesting, yep.
we're finished.
No, that's like, no, is there anything else that you're reaching for down the road that you think that would go to maybe? Is there anything?
There's, I think the newest thing really hitting the pre-hospital is pre-hospital blood,
Okay,
but it's a pretty expensive venture,
yeah,
and trying to figure out if what would be the town's return on investment.
Yeah.
I mean, how often you have to replace it versus how much we're really going to use it.
yep, yeah, yep.
The other one is
Gotta do that balance.
pre-hospital ultrasounds.
No way.
Yeah, they're using a lot of that in cardiac arrests.
What does that tell you when you do that if you were doing a cardiac arrest? What does the ultrasound tell you?
From what I see in the hospital, when we bring cardiac patients in,
Yeah.
they will, after we've given all our interventions, the hospital will do a few rounds of CPR. They'll give additional medications, and then they'll do the ultrasound, and that will tell them if there's any activity going on with the heart.
Yeah. And then probably the only other thing we'd probably move to the next would probably be like our like an iStat, which actually measures blood gases, blood levels.
Oh, right on the street.
Yep.
Yeah.
So if we had a septic patient, we could look at their lactate and that kind of stuff. Or you can even like cardiac arrest patient or cardiac chest pain patient,
Yep.
you can measure their troponin.
Yep.
That might help you decide whether we're going to a cath lab versus just Milford Hospital.
Yeah.
But kind of just jump back to the cardiac arrest. Something that the citizens might want to be aware of is if we go to a cardiac arrest now, we're not going to be just grabbing the patient, throw them in the back of the ambulance, and taking
No,
off.
those days are done.
Yeah, we're going to be working that patient for 20 minutes at least on scene.
Yep.
They're finding that their survival rates are higher if the paramedics stay and basically play.
Yep. Do your thing, so to speak.
Every time we stop to move the patient or this, your heart's not pumping. So
Yeah.
we found about if we stay in place, we pump. We can roll the Lucas into it, and between the Lucas, the vent, all the medications that we have, your chance of survival is a lot higher.
That's a very good point, because I know 1,000 times I've heard, oh, how come they're not moving?
Yep.
You know what I mean? And you're doing your job.
Yep.
Doing what you're trained to do, what the equipment's purchased to do, and it's in a like you're in the best pre-hospital scenario that you can be, sitting in the box, out someplace, side of the road, someone's driveway, whatever. Yep, nope.
And the,
That was a good point. Yeah, thank you for that.
Everything that the medics are going to be doing in the back of the ambulance is the same thing that would be getting done in the ER.
Yep.
For the
Yeah.
20-some minutes.
Yep. No, it's like unbelievable. No.
And the only other good thing that we do is our monitors, they transmit our EKGs to Framingham Hospital,
Oh, okay.
Mass Hospital,
Yep.
and our door-to-balloon time for cardiac events for STEMIs is very low.
Yep.
It's
And you track that.
Yep.
Yep. And it also tells you probably which hospital to go to
Yep.
sooner.
Yep. And
So
plus,
they-
like Framingham's, their cath lab's not staffed 24 hours a day, so when we transmit an EKG that's a STEMI in the middle of the night, it goes to the cardiologist's cell phone, the ER cell phone, and they can actually look at it and they can activate the cath lab team and actually bring them in.
And they'll be ready when you get there.
By the time we package a patient and drive from here to the hospital, they're usually
Yeah.
pulling up. Sometimes we're even avoiding the ER, going right to the cath lab.
Yeah.
So,
No, but this is unbelievable stuff. Thank you for, I know you had a very busy schedule and you came in today to help us, but thank you. This is stuff that the community needs to know, and the capability that you have. We're getting near the end of our time here, and I want to thank everybody. And one of the things I just wanted to say after thank you is, I like to have a question period at the end, but I didn't have any questions sent to my Hot Topics email. It's hottopics@hcam.tv. If you have any questions about fire, EMS, if I don't know the answer, I'm going to go to the chief if it's a fire or EMS thing. And I like to ask those or go through those at the end, like 2 or 3 questions, and it will be anonymous. So just use a first name, and we'll get those answered. And if, like I said, if we don't have the answer, I'll go to where I need to find it. But thank you very much, and thank HCAM for using their wonderful studio here. And this is the end of episode 13. Thank you. Have a good day and be safe.